All right, we'd like to call the real property tax service and environmental concerns to order. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the prior meeting. Andrea, Matt, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay.
Lex?
Yep. So first on the agenda is a resolution request to approve the list of chargebacks. There's only one chargeback, and it was a court order to lower the assessment in the town of Warrensburg.
Okay. Matt, second. Claudia? Any further discussion, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, information for discussion. I have a few things under there. One of them I just wanted to bring back was the Glens Falls Tennis and Swim Club. I have spoken with the mayor and the city, and I just wanted to let you all know that they're kind of doing their due diligence and looking into it a little bit further. They haven't made any decisions as of yet if they are still interested or not. So they were going to look a little further and then get back to me. So possibly the end of September when we come back to committee, I may have something for you then on those parcels. Next, I just...
Mr. Chairman, can I make a comment?
Yes.
Yeah, that piece of property is approximately a 6-acre piece of property. It's very wet, okay? It is probably a wetland type scenario. If this property was truly worth a whole lot of money, Skimmerhorn would have bought it already, okay? So my point is, it's not the greatest deal in the world, any way you slice it, and that's just kind of a general observation. Going by the property 4 or 5 times a week, I'm fairly familiar with it. So.
Have you looked at it, Alexi?
I have been
I thought you
there.
did. I thought you said that last week.
Out towards the back is where it's more wet, out past the buildings and everything. There is some wetlands out back, but, you know, the area that they use for the courts and for the pool area are fine. They're just going to need a lot of repair and a lot of work.
Yeah, and in general terms, my feeling is, the city probably ought to go through the normal process. You know, that's a general observation. That's just, a thought. If the city's really interested, buy it at foreclosure like everyone else.
Anything else? Okay.
Okay. I just wanted to also let you know that my Fall Directors Conference is going to be October 14th through 17th. So I just wanted to make you aware that I plan on attending.
Where is it?
It's actually in Watkins Glen.
Huh.
I'm hoping that the weather holds off, because I know they've had a lot of storms down there and they've had a lot of washed out roads, so hopefully everything continues.
Some water pollution in there.
Yeah,
Water supply canceled the fish concert.
they did, yep.
That was a big deal.
It was. They had a lot of
Check
people
on it before you go.
booked
Bring your own water.
And then lastly is Queensbury Parcel 240.1-60. It is a piece that I talked to you at our July committee meeting, and it is a piece up by the lake. It's a long strip. I probably should have brought a little map, but I didn't. We had discussed it, maybe possibly turning it over to the state of New York, but I had told you that the state wasn't interested in something that had been foreclosed on. They can't take title for 10 years. Dennis had recommended reaching out to the Lake George Land Conservancy. So I have been in touch with a Jamie Brown, and he has taken it. They went last Thursday. They just kind of had a informal meeting, and this coming Friday, I believe, is their board meeting. So they did discuss it. I do have an email here that I could read to you. They sound like they're pretty interested, so if you want to, I can read this. He just said that they are thankful for the county considering the donation of land that is coming up for tax auction. Sorry. To the Lake George Land Conservancy. This is a wonderful example of a partnership to protect the land that protects Lake George. The Lake George Land Conservancy staff, Conservation, and Executive Committee have carefully considered this potential project, taking into account the land's conservation value, potential liabilities, stewardship liabilities, and other issues. The property has wonderful conservation values and is certainly in line with our mission. We are excited to protect this property. Therefore, we have agreed that the Lake George Land Conservancy would be willing to accept the land as a generous donation. However, we will accept the land subject to the following. They respectfully request that they will not be obligated to pay the back taxes on the property. We are certainly willing to pay our share of the closing costs, county filing fees, although the back taxes are not a large expense. And just to let you know, the back taxes are currently, with interest, $1,302.50. They have a long-term stewardship expenses associated with the property, and such upfront expenses will make accepting this donation more difficult. Due to the isolated nature of the property, some had concerns as to dumping and contamination of the property. We are trying to get out to the property, but due to scheduling issues, have not been able to make a site visit. He is confident that a visual inspection of the property will reveal no serious issues. However, they would ask that the acceptance of the donation be contingent upon allowing the Lake George Land Conservancy to undertake their usual environmental due diligence, which includes a physical site visit to inspect for any issues in follow-up investigations if we see anything that is of concern. Colored vegetation, unidentified drums, etc. He does not foresee this being an issue or taking a great deal of time. We hope to get staff out there in the next week or two, but frankly, he thinks that it will make folks here feel better and allow us to do dot our I's and cross our T's. So that's what he had to say. I know when we were out the property, we didn't see anything. Mike and I had gone out there twice. We were out in June and we were out in July to post the property. We didn't see anything, but of course they're going to do further inspection than we would even dream of doing because it is pretty marshy. So, they're going to obviously block at least the edge of the property, if not more. But I don't think there would be concerns. The good thing about this would be when we offered it to the state, they wouldn't be able to accept anything unless we sat on it for 10 years once we foreclosed. It's just the New York State's policy. If the Conservancy was to get it, they could basically sit on it for that 10 years to then allow the state to be able to come in and acquire it after that. I don't know, Claudia might have some input on this, I don't know.
No, I'm going to recuse myself because I'm one of the lawyers for the Land Conservancy on this matter, so I don't want to overstep my bounds.
Thank you, Claudia, appreciate that. So we'll wait and see what they find.
We'll wait and see. He's hoping that after the board meeting, because the board meeting, I believe, is next Friday, they would like to pass a resolution stating that they would like to acquire. So I would have something to come back after that point. I don't know how everybody would feel about it. Pushing it, though, to the end of September. Right, but if I waited till the end of my September meetings, usually at the end of the month, so it would be too close to put a resolution through on our end for the October board meeting, because that would be the day before the auction. I could speak with Dennis after their board meeting and let you know what come of it. We could possibly do a pre-post resolution for September's board meeting, if everybody would be okay with that, of them acquiring the property.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Peter.
The consistency as it relates to properties pending foreclosures, whether they go to the auction or don't go to the auction. We ought to, as a county, have a consistent policy. I stated just a couple of moments ago that I thought that maybe the city ought to go to should go to auction just like everybody else. So my question is, are we indeed setting a precedent here that maybe we will regret in the future? Do we basically, I guess arbitrarily, remove properties before the auction and basically not give the world at large a right to bid on a piece of foreclosed property?
Go ahead, Ross.
If I may, this particular piece of property, Peter, is landlocked. So, the state of New York owns all on the other side. There's North Queensberry Fire, and we're not 100% on a right-of-way to this property. If anything, if we were to take it to tax sale, it then becomes a difficult process for whoever purchases it to try to get to this property. So they're going to be crossing a trail possibly because it's already there and you might think that they can just get to it. I know that we have in the past, if, like with the city, when you bring that up, we've allowed other towns to be able to purchase properties from us once we foreclose on them. So that is something that's happened in the past.
Thank you for your answer. I think we need a more defined policy as it relates to situations like this, and I guess I would ask Mary to kind of, can we put something together in terms of going forward?
We already really do have a policy that was set up years ago.
So again, our policy is it's okay.
As far as I'm concerned, yes.
Okay.
We've had it, it's been in place for a long time because there was, okay, I'm going to go way back 20 years ago when I was here. We had a municipality that wanted something. So there was a policy that was set up at that particular time on how to deal with properties that other agencies or municipalities would like to get.
We have a policy.
We do.
I'm more than happy with your statement that we indeed have a policy. Case law?
We do. There is a local resolution out there on that allows for this and sets up the policy of how they would pay for the properties.
Of how it's supposed to be done and the payments and everything else is all set up.
Sounds like a winner.
So you are looking for a resolution to,
Well, I don't want to pass a resolution until they pass a resolution. That's the problem. It's a timing issue, though, because their board meeting is next Friday. If I was to wait and come back on my next committee meeting, which won't be until the end of September, and then it goes to the board meeting, I mean, I guess we could. The board meeting's the day before the auction, so we could wait if we decide to sell it and pull it at that time. Or we could, once we find out their
what's the
decision from
problem
their
with
board meeting.
waiting?
It's just that it's the day before the auction. It just makes it a little more difficult, but we can pull it from the auction at that point. We've done that in the past.
Okay. What's the committee's feeling?
Comfortable waiting?
Okay. Wait it is.
That's all I have.
Great. I have a question for you on environmental concerns. As the official bag lady, I've heard some murmurings that they're trying to develop a plastic bag a little more heavier than the culprit bags, but less heavier than the next bag up. Is that true?
Who's they?
Why, the industry.
I don't know. I don't know, Dennis. They have bags that are...
I think the way I read the email is there was a bag that was just a fraction thicker
than our particular...
available
Yeah.
out there.
There is.
In use.
There always has been.
There always has been, yeah.
So is that
Nothing new.
a problem? Is that something we should think about in our bag law?
Sorry.
Well, no, go ahead.
Well, no, I mean, obviously they cost more. So, I mean, that's an industry decision, it's not...
Well, my concern is the problem with the lightweight bags is they're lightweight. And if this is insignificantly heavier, we'll have the same problem.
The ones that I've seen are not insignificantly heavier. They are, in my mind, those are reusable bags still.
Okay.
They're thick enough that you could use them again. I mean, that's, my hope is that people would start reusing them and stop using
Right.
those bags as just like a one-time thing.
Right.
But we can't stop people from doing that either, unless we just completely get rid of that option. But I don't think that's very realistic at this point. I mean, another way to convince people to stop using them like that is to make the grocery stores put on their receipts how much it costs. Right now, it's just rolled into how much you pay for your food, so
Right.
if they had to show how much each bag costs, maybe people would treat them differently.
Is that Peter?
I did come in and look at Ryan's plastic bag, and it is a little bit heavier, and I could see where somebody could...
This is your fault.
I have three in my office. One is 2.5, another is 2.25, that's from Target, and there's a third from a company I won't mention that is labeled 2.25, but it's really 2. So you can feel the difference. And the 2, I think it feels a little iffy as to whether that would actually be reusable. So I'll show you all of them if you want, anybody who wants to see them.
And the last comment that Supervisor Bramer made, I would not be in favor of imposing any form of rules or regulations other than what we currently are proposing with the supermarket industry as it relates to putting something on their receipt describing what the cost of a plastic bag is. If you want to get Mona crazy.
I'm not suggesting that. But for people to understand that these do have a cost, that would be one way, is to show it on the receipt at the bottom or something, here's how much but I'm not suggesting that we add that to the bill, to the proposal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So my only thought was to change the resolution to specify no bags less than a certain number.
So the law currently says 2.25.
Right.
Yeah.
Frank?
How do you set a public hearing? How can you change your resolution now? You have to wait till after the public hearing.
Good point. We're obviously not doing that, Frank. So, does anybody have anything else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Wait 1 second. Does anybody in the public have anything to say? Entertain a motion to adjourn. Claudia, Andrea, all in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you very much.